Awesome. Hey everyone. We are just getting started here. We are going live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time. You don't see her right now, but we also have Natalia, our patient experience manager, in the room getting everything set up. So we're just going to give it a couple of seconds before we get started. And while we're waiting for folks to tune in, hope you guys are having a good morning so far. We're doing this at 11 o'clock now. We've normally done our lives at about 12 or 12:30. So we're testing out the 11 a.m. time frame to see if this works for you all. Hope you guys are all having a good morning so far. It's Wednesday, hump day. A couple more days. Although we don't have hump days here. Every day is such a great day.
A couple more days.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just get started. The topic today, we have been trying to do these go lives every month, and we focus on a different topic that we think will resonate with our audience because our patients ask us these questions all the time. So we thought, why don't we just kind of get it out there to the community and offer up some of this information, because I'm sure that there's many of you out there that have been considering certain aspects in their health and have been wondering about it. And so hopefully this will give you some perspective, some information that you might learn that you didn't know otherwise. But today we have Dr. Ryan Lombardo here with us, our wellness director, and he is our primary provider of wellness consultations for both men and women here at Fresh Skin. Now, I did want to touch on the name. We get this question a lot. We are very much rooted in aesthetic medicine here. Absolutely, we focus on the quality and health of skin, going through corrective procedures so that we can get skin healthy, and then we also maintain it, right, with the technologies that we have here. But there's a whole other aspect of our practice. About 50% of our practice is actually rooted in functional and integrative medicine. And so we do a lot of wellness consultations here, and we help patients in feeling better, regaining their vitality, making sure that they're functioning, that their body is functioning at optimal levels. And so many people don't realize this because of the name. So we're going through a rebranding process right now, but we want to make sure that you guys are aware of what it is that we offer, because over 94% of our established wellness patients, they've referred their friends and family here. So we have this robust practice. We're not just dabbling in it. So without further ado, want to get started on the topic today. Today we're talking about fat loss versus weight loss. And for many years, myself included here, I thought it was the same thing. I didn't realize that there was a difference. And so, Dr. Ryan, we're just going to get started there, and then I'm going to throw out some common questions that are asked of us by patients. But talk a little bit about what is the difference between fat loss and weight loss, and why is there a difference?
Okay. This is a very common question. I get it all the time. Essentially, it's, well, what's the difference? When patients come to me and say, I want to lose 20 pounds, I want to lose 30 pounds, I want to lose 10 pounds, whatever it is, I ask them back this question, well, is it really the number on the scale that matters? Or is it something else that is troubling you? Is it stored fat in a certain area? Is it fatigue? Is it the way clothes fit? Is it, a picture of your mom from 30 years ago when you were growing up that you don't want to be? I mean, these are things that this is, real life, real conversation that we have in this office. So, what I tell people is your body's made up, for the most part, when we're talking about weight, we have muscle, we have water, we have body fat, and we have visceral fat. And then, of course, we have, bones, bones and organs. But we're not going to worry about, are we going to have bone loss, are we going to have organ loss? That's not going to happen with our typical programs, clearly. But we will have muscle loss, we will have water loss, and we will have fat loss if we don't plan accordingly. The goal of weight loss, for the most part for people, is truly fat loss, and that's a totally different type of diet and exercise regimen than it is if we just want to lose weight.
Well, it's interesting because even our established patients, while they're new to the practice and still learning about their body and how it's functioning, we've been so trained to look at the number on the scale, and we're looking at that thinking that there's something wrong if it's going up. And there's people that are getting healthier but that that number in weight goes up, but that could be a good thing because you're building muscle volume and you're reducing and decreasing the volume in fat.
Correct.
And that's what it's so hard for people to kind of understand that concept and know that it's a good thing. It's just you really have to understand the composition. It's not just about the pounds or that number on that scale.
Right. I mean, you could be 135 pounds at 52% body fat, or you could be 135 pounds at 22% body fat. And the weight is the same. The look, the feel, the function, night and day.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you're carrying muscle weight, I would say, and you're toned and you're fit, you're going to carry yourself a little bit differently. You're going to feel differently. You're going to
Here's an
be
example.
optimized.
This is 1 pound of fat. You know, it's a pound. It's you know, you can, but it's pliable and you can move it around. You can spread it out and it can cover your waist. It can cover the back of your arms. It can cover your hips, your thighs, whatever. But a pound of muscle, I don't have a good example. A pound of muscle is not even, it's barely half of this size, probably a quarter of this size. So, and that's why the pounds, when people say muscle weighs more than fat, no, it doesn't. It's just the density. And if you can pack that into the spots that you want, then you can carry yourself a little bit differently. You also get improved benefits of sleep, improved benefits of hormone regulation, improved benefits of just general form and function, less
Energy
pain, more
is a
energy.
big one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just feeling more motivated and feeling
Right.
like you can tackle life. I know that a lot of when we see moms here and dads, you know, you have the kids to worry about, you're putting them first, there's a lot going on. You know, the way of the world today than it was years ago when we were growing up is completely different. It is 24/7, it truly, truly is. So of course you're gonna get burnout, fatigue, and so if your body isn't optimized, you know, there's going to be a whole number of issues that one is going to experience. And again, we deal with this all day long, but there definitely is a difference between fat loss and weight loss. There's a huge difference in that, and that's kind of one of the things that we really try to educate our patients on and try to educate others on. Now, I want to jump to the top 5 questions. We're asked many questions, but the top 5 questions that were asked specifically around this topic. And so one of them, I wrote it down, was, you know, I've tried everything, but I can't lose the weight.
Well,
What am I doing wrong?
so that's like literally the first thing that people say.
Yeah.
I'll just go out on a limb and say, I guarantee you have not tried everything. It's just not, it's not the case.
I feel like it though.
Yeah.
And, you know, when people say I've tried everything and I wonder, you know, well, what does that really mean? I already kind of know. They've tried 3 or 4 different fad diets. They've tried packaged food. They've tried something their friend had success with. But trying something is very different than doing. You try something for a week or 2 and you don't get the results, and you have an event that you have to go to, and so that derails you, and then you try something else. And even if you try something for a couple of months and you're really diligent and you feel like you really know what you're doing and you're not getting results, I would tell you it's either inconsistent or it's just wrong for you. Every person is totally different, and so when you're trying to actually lose fat and you're trying to change your body composition, you have to know, first of all, what your baseline is, and 2, you have to know, like, what is it that is going to work for your body to improve your not just active metabolism, but your resting metabolism.
Right.
If you're just going to work out to go on a treadmill, you know, for an hour because it's telling you you're burning 1,200 calories, that's not really going to help you lose weight, and it's certainly not going to help you lose fat. You have to know what your baseline is, you have to know what your goals are, and you have to create a plan that truly works. Trying everything is just this wide open, I'm just going to try a few things that I've read about and see if it works for me. Trial and error is usually not the way to go if you're actually trying to lose fat.
Something else that happens with that we've seen, especially with Natalia and I from like the support perspective for our patients, is that it can be exhausting too, and it can feel like it's been this ongoing struggle that has taken years, because maybe someone has like really tried to eat a little bit better or work out a little bit more or whatever it is, and they just feel like it's been a constant battle, and there may have been little bits that they've tried, but again, like you're saying, it wasn't the right for them, because it is, everyone, I keep telling everyone too, is every single individual, your body composition and your makeup is truly a fingerprint. Everyone has a unique fingerprint.
Absolutely.
everyone's body composition, your experiences, your lifestyle, the way that your body's functioning, your medical history, your health history, all of that is a reflection of who you are today. Now, it doesn't have to mean that you can look to your parents and be like, well, that's it, I'm doomed, that's how I'm going to be. Or, hey, my parents are awesome, they're all fit, but something's wrong with me here. We're all different, and lifestyle and experience and our day of what we're doing every day in life is going to make an impact. So we see that a lot. Now, how about I eat right and I exercise and nothing changes?
All right, this one I love because this is what is all built around what we learned growing up and what the media tells us. Eat right and exercise, I would literally say, well, what does that mean then? Because eating right and exercise for most people is what they're also told by their doctor when they say, they go to the doctor, I can't lose weight. They go to their friends, well, it's probably stress, or you're just getting older, get used to it. Maybe just try eating better and exercise. Well, does that mean you're going to walk? Does that mean you're going to be on a bike? Does that mean you're going to go hit the gym? Does that mean you're going to eat 3 meals a day, a balanced diet? Does that mean you're going to be keto? Does that mean you're going to be paleo? Or you're going to be fasting? Or you're going to do intermittent fasting? Eating right has so many questions. Are you going to eat just fruits and vegetables? Who knows what that answer really is? And everyone, just like you were saying, everyone has their own fingerprint. I kind of look at it like it's a blueprint that they were taught and then they put into play, and it, whether it's right for them or not is really in question. This whole idea of genetics, like we're destined to be like our parents. Yes and no. If you talk to geneticists, they're going to tell us over 90% of how we present does not have to do with our genes. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a very small amount that is genetic predisposition, and then our lifestyle and our choices end up displaying those genetic traits. And the problem is we learn so much growing up and we start repeating those same patterns that we end up in this epigenetic pattern, and we then represent or represent how our parents look and feel.
Well, the other thing too is and we'll do another live so we don't have to get into this, but food sensitivities. There could be someone who's eating healthy and think that they're eating the right foods, and those specific foods that they're eating are causing inflammation in the body, and it's causing chronic inflammation that affects the way that your hormones are regulating and functioning and every other aspect of your body, and the systems that are in the body. So that can play a huge role as well in fat loss and weight loss and all of that. Okay, this is a really good one. We get this a lot but from moms and dads, is everything changed after I had kids. Specifically, we hear this a lot also. We have the dads get with a sympathetic weight gain, is that what it is? But for moms, for the most part, they've carried the child for 9 months, hopefully. And their body goes through a lot. Hormones change, so much happens, and then things just aren't quite the same anymore afterwards. Right. So what do they do there? I mean, there's like 4 things that I could think of right now.
Well, there's a couple reasons why. First of all, you have to remember, if you're carrying the baby, your hormones are changing because they have to, and they're supposed to, and it's generally not a bad thing. Yeah. And after the fact, your body's storing fat in certain areas, and it's and just like in menopause, your body stores fat in certain areas because it's to protect you. It's to have literally stored energy. Mm-hmm. And, unfortunately, in women, it's stored in areas that we don't always want. Sometimes we like the breast tissue in the butt, but we don't like the back of arms, the lower belly, the bra line, the inner and outer thighs. It's not necessarily something that people come in and say, I love having fat everywhere, They're like, I just want to lose it in these spots though, and spot reduction is hard. But if it is hormonally charged and hormonally stored fat, then there's a lot we can do. Men, surprisingly, it's not that different. It's clinically proven that our estrogen increases and testosterone decreases while our significant other is pregnant or after delivery for up to 3 years. It's not a short-term thing. That's so insane. If we're not going to be proactive about it, we're going to have similar things. We're going to have increased fat in breast tissue, lower belly, love handles, and generally less motivation to do some of the things we used to do, and more motivation to kind of nest and care for others. So if we don't do something about it, we're going to develop these parent pounds, which is what I really call them. We're sitting around more, we're more actively engaging, with families and friends and other types of events that are generally revolving around food and birthdays and parties, and then we're making lunches, we're making dinners, and we're taking a handful of cereal, we're trying a bite of this, we're eating the leftover fries, we're having the chicken nugget, we're just doing the things that because it's convenient and it's simple, and we don't want to
keep going,
and we don't want to throw it out.
Yeah.
And then we're like, here, do you want to try this? And then we take a bite and we do it. And that all adds up. I'm not a calories in, calories out kind of person, but at the same time, if we're doing that every day and it's, let's say, 200 to 300 calories of just simple snacks, do that math. It's pretty easy to gain 30 pounds in a year.
No, that's consistent, yes.
Right.
The next question is for, with COVID, there are a lot of people weren't traveling, but now there's a lot of business traveling that's starting to kind of make its way back into the normalcy of work and the work environment. And we get a lot of patients that don't know what to do while they're very motivated and they can do it when they're here, but what happens during business travel?
Business travel's tough.
How can they do better?
First, the alcohol at airports is always a problem, and then alcohol at night is also a problem. It's probably the most consistent thing. Same thing with just meals around, like meetings and meals, right? Mm-hmm. So generally you have control over breakfast for sure, unless it's a breakfast meeting, and even then you still have control. A lot of people, intermittent fasting is the thing, they just get breakfast or they have coffee. Other people, they're like, they don't need a heavy meal, or they are very specific and choose what works for them. Some people it might be oatmeal, another person it might be they're on keto and they do eggs and bacon or an omelet or something like that. You can plan breakfast. You can always plan dinner. If it's business travel, it's almost always like a steakhouse. So there's no question, you can get fish, you can get lean protein, you can get vegetables. That will be very easy. The key is don't add the 4 or 5 drinks, maybe just have one. Lunch is hard because catered lunches at businesses are almost always sandwiches and chips and all that kind of stuff. So I tell people, if there's a salad option or a vegetarian option, lunch is your time to fill up on vegetables. That's going to be your best bet. And you don't need a ton of protein at that time. You really don't need starch at that time. I would fill up on vegetables. It'll keep you more active. It'll keep you more awake and engaged in the meetings that you have the rest of the day. And you're less likely to overload on calories that are going to slow you down.
Yeah. All right, we have one more question, and then I just jotted down some notes for future live segments that are going to be an offshoot off of this. But what about holidays and events? It's interesting because we get patients that come in for, Dr. Ryan also provides nutritional counseling and support in terms of, making sure that he's kind of like your coach and your guide to help you move along the process. And it's funny because sometimes people will be like, they'll come in September, October just to get prepped and ready for the holiday, and then they'll be like, I'll see you in the new year because I'm sure I'm going to need it. And it's just like, well, hold on, let's just continue this. And then we have quite a few patients that continue the process, and they do really well during the holidays, and that's difficult. So what does one do around holidays and events? Like barbecues are coming up, or all this stuff is coming up.
Well, we have 2 different schools of thought, right? We have the ones that are like, I'm going to be on a program with you during holidays and events because otherwise I'm going to gain 15 pounds. And at least if I'm on a program, I'm not going to gain anything. They're not looking to lose. They're just afraid to gain. So they just say, I'm going to do something, whatever you tell me to do. But and then we have the others who it's absolute debauchery for 2 months, 3 months, or whatever it is, and then they come in and they're like, all right, I need to lose the 15 pounds I gained. So I don't really have a preference of which type of work we're doing, except I'd rather you stay healthy. But the biggest and probably most secret trick with holidays and events is I have 2 specific rules. You never eat standing up, and you never drink sitting down. It will prevent you from hors d'oeuvres, it'll prevent you from standing and mindlessly eating anything that's available, chips, dips, whatever. And when you're sitting, you can't drink. So you're not going to have 2, 3, 4 drinks while you're sitting hanging out with your friends. You can carry a glass. I guarantee you're going to drink less if you're carrying a glass of wine, or you're carrying a beer, or you're carrying something like that than you will if you're sitting down and continually pouring. Those 2 things will save you probably 1,000 calories a day at every single event. You'll be less likely to have finger foods. You'll sit down, you'll eat, and then you'll be up and around, you'll be doing your things. I promise you it makes all the difference when it comes to events.
I think too, even though like, you know, you want to, especially now, and especially in Chicago, you want to fall into like the summer holidays and the summer events and all that. But also we've told people in the past too, is like, eat before you go to the events, so that way, you know, you filled up on the good foods that you're fueling your body with and the nutrients, and then when you get there, you're not going to want to or crave, you know, what's around you, so it'll be a little bit easier. But anyway, okay, so hopefully it's like 1, 2, 3, go. Hopefully this was somewhat informative. We try to get as much information out there as possible in small little increments. Jotted down a few more ideas for future lives with Dr. Ryan. I want to like dive deeper into what women can do after, you know, post baby to kind of help themselves from all of the hormone fluctuations. How do they get back to better? Also some of the physical changes that have occurred, like what can we do with that on the wellness side and also on the aesthetic side. So there's just a lot, and also what to do for dads, like you were saying, it could take up to a few years. So how do we kind of regain some control on that? And some other things that I'd like to talk about. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to add your questions in the comments below. If you'd like to come in for a wellness consultation, Dr. Ryan is seeing patients. He's taking on some new patients right now. And if you want to learn more about our services, you can go to our website at myfreshskin.com. I should have said this at the beginning, but Dr. Ryan is board certified in integrative medicine as well. He's also a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine. Bunch of other things that you've done and certifications that you have and degrees. But if you'd like to learn more about Dr. Ryan or any of our providers here, you can find that on our website as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay healthy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.